There you go. That was Long Sunday Afternoon, and I now have my very special guest, Mr. Andy Snowden, who has sung that song God knows how many times. Hi, Andy. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you? That was a bit of a blast from the past.
Absolutely. So, how are you doing at the moment? Are you okay?
Really good, actually. Yeah, it's been a funny old year, hasn't it? So I think we're trying to make the most of what we've got.
Yeah.
And I've actually found it all right. You know, I know a lot of people have struggled, and I'm not belittling that kind of thing. But for me, as a family, we've kind of we kind of pressed on and got on with it. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you know you have a professional stalker?
Is that you, is it?
It is, yeah, absolutely. I just want to tell a listener that, we went to junior school together, we went to high school together. You're a few years older than me, by the way. But anyway, then you went to the Clwyd Youth Theatre. Then I went to the Clwyd Youth Theatre. Then you got into the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Then I got into the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. Then you went into the West End. Then I went into the West End. Then you stopped acting, and I stopped acting. And then you've started in radio, and I've started in radio. What's going on? This is insane. Absolutely insane.
Let's just hope you die before me.
I think I probably will, actually, knowing what my lifestyle is. But yeah. So we've known each other since forever, really, and we've been great mates. So it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you on the radio here today. What I'm really interested in is the stuff that you've been doing during lockdown. It's encouraged and really, really helped loads and loads of people. For anybody out there that doesn't know what you've been doing, can you explain, because you've got the most amazingly multi-talented family, and not only are you the most amazing performer, but as a dad and as a family unit, goodness knows how you survived during lockdown, all in the same house. And tell everybody what you've been doing.
Well, what we started doing, and I'm presuming you're talking about the singing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Every single day, though.
Yes. Well, we started. Well, when it first started, Janet, that's my wife. You know, Jan. She went, we should sing a song and sort of Facebook Live it. But thinking, this is no joke, we thought this would last about 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. Right. And we thought it will give something for people to kind of watch and enjoy, and maybe even look forward to. And it got to about 140 days, and we said, right, we better start wrapping this up now. So we thought, the OCD in me went, we'll stop at 150. And we did 150 songs. I think it was a week last Sunday. And that 150th, we didn't do them all in one day. And we did it for a charity, Little Girl in Our Village. It's called the Unbeatable Eva campaign. Little Girl in Our Village who isn't very well. She needs treatment in America, and they're trying to raise a hell of a lot of money for them to get over there.
Have you got?
As you can imagine.
Have you got any details that you can say now?
I will dig those out for you, okay. so I don't make a mistake on that. But,
cool.
That'd be great if I could give those details. It's a GoFundMe thing, so it's dead easy to give if you can. But we thought, well, we'll do the last one and hope to raise a bit of money for them, and that's what we did. But as you say, it wasn't something we planned as such. It was just something that we thought, and if anybody watches them, they're on the YouTube. It's called 150 Songs in 150 Days. That's the title of it. And I've just put like 10, 20 seconds of each song together. Lasts about 40 minutes if you can be bothered. But the first songs are quite they get better. Let's just put it that way.
Well, how did you find it as a family? Because all of a sudden, you've got 2 daughters, you've got a son, and you've got a wife, and all of a sudden you're all in the same house at the same time, and then you're trying to do this. You did it. The songs every single day, and you've got to. Some of them were absolutely spot on. You must have rehearsed them.
Well, the funny thing is, as you may well gather, right, we're the sort of family that sing anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
We're that kind of people who, if we have a house party, at some point around about midnight, somebody gets on the piano and we all have a sing song. So a lot of the songs we already knew, but then around about 60, 70 days, we started, scratching our heads about, it was usually be Jan who would say, what we doing tonight? We've got to start thinking about doing something. So what we then did is wrote a list on that messages page you can get on Facebook.
Yeah,
we wrote a list out. If anybody thought of a song in the day, we just write it down, and then we ended up with a list of about 100 songs to choose from, or whatever took our fancy that night we would do. But you're quite right though, because Sam, our eldest, is in he's at the Royal College of Music in Manchester. And Bethan, our middle one, she's in university in York doing music. Becca is still at home, but we went from sort of having 3 of us in the house to 5 of us, 5 adults. Let's not forget this isn't an easy.
No, you're not talking about toddlers here. You're talking about fully grown up people.
All fully grown up, all eating a lot, and all drinking my booze. But the thing of it is, they are all very, very, very talented, and so it wasn't that hard. Do you know what I mean? Sam's a very good pianist. Yeah. They all can play the piano, but Sam was on the piano. Bethan should say plays the clarinet. Becca plays this. That's the little one. Becca is. She's on the flute, and Janet. Well, she can play every bloody thing. She's all right. So sorry. Morning radio. Sorry about that. She can play everything. So and I played the drums because I'm a bit thick.
Not at all. Well, you've done the most amazing thing over the past, couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, however long it's been, and because it's given me a lot of happiness, just to see you guys all get together and do your thing. It's fantastic.
That's brilliant. You should say that. Because I think as well, and I've mentioned this a lot to people, that it's brought a lot of people together.
Yeah, definitely.
I sort of came up with an idea right at the beginning of lockdown, that you should give somebody a ring on usually on Facebook Messenger or something like that. Somebody you haven't spoken to for over a year. They might be your Facebook friend.
Well, you did it to me. You did it to me right at the beginning, and I thought, I haven't spoken to Andy for probably, it could possibly be over 5 years, and the phone rang, and it was you. Yeah, and I was just taking the dog for a walk, and I rang you, and I rang our other friend Simon Ellis. He was in the youth theatre, and I hadn't seen him for about 3 years. Really, I mean, we sort of we bump into each other every now and again because his family still live up in near me, but I rang him as well, and it was just lovely. And another friend of ours, Simon, he lives down in London. I haven't spoken to him for about 20 years. No. And it was, there was just something about it, you know what I mean? That actually I was trying to make the whole lockdown thing have some sort of something positive to go on for. But that lasted about a week, that idea. Before you get bored. Right, I'm going to take you right back now. The first time I think I saw you perform semi-professionally was in the youth theatre in Sweet Charity. And did you push Charity into a pool at the beginning, or were you just a bystander and you walked past? I seem to remember. I was a bystander, but I've got to tell you this: I was the best bystander ever. But anyway, this was the show that really made me want to join the Clwyd Youth Theatre, and it was an amazing organisation, and so many people came out of there and went on to some brilliant things. So what I want to do now is just play a little track. I can remember seeing you in this scene. Everybody that was in the entire show was in this scene. It's Rhythm of Life.
Brilliant.
Good morning, one and all. Welcome back to Saturday Spotlight with me, Guy Parry. I have a very, very special guest here today. It's Mr. Andy Snowden, star of stage and screen. Hi, Andy. How you doing?
I'm great, mate. Thank you. Just listening to your Rhythm of Life then. It really took me back. It's a hell of a show, Sweet Charity, isn't it?
It's one of my absolute favourites. I really want to see, I don't know about you, but I want to see Sheridan Smith play Charity. I think she would be an absolute corker. I don't know, she might have done it already. I have no idea.
Are you saying that she's going to be doing it?
No. If I had £1 million, I would produce it. But I think she would be brilliant at it. Any memories from that show? Because it's sort of it's branded into the back of my brain because it was the first show that I saw from the youth theatre, and I remember it was a little bit naughty, it was a little bit racy. Fiona Taggart was fantastic as Charity, as were all the other girls that were in it, but I just remember that song, The Rhythm of Life, there was smoking on stage, and
smoking drugs.
They were supposedly drugs, but I'm sure it was just tobacco. But
whatever.
Each kid, obviously, their parents would come and see the show, and they would make sure that on the nights that their parents came, they would just pass the cigarette on and not take a drag of it.
I know. But the thing of it was, because as you quite rightly point out, it was a youth theatre show, Cluj Youth Theatre.
Yeah.
And it was, I was reminded, again, our friend Simon, he put something on Facebook the other day of, we did a play called The Arabian Nights, Tales of the Arabian Nights.
I remember it well. I did a reboot of that, I think.
Well, some of the things we did in that show, you could never get away with today. No. I mean, we were doing some sort of mock call to prayer thing, and you'd never be able to do it.
No.
Not even if we got it right, you wouldn't be allowed to do it.
No.
But what we were just sort of playing at it as you would. But Sweet Charity, as you quite rightly point out, again, a youth theatre production, had prostitutes in it. I was just talking this morning to another friend of ours, Donna Edwards.
Oh,
she was a prostitute in it, and she must have been about 16 at the time. And of course, the Rhythm of Life song was set in a den of iniquity where everybody just sat around smoking pot on stage. It was incredible, really. But but I mean, the memories I have of it they're kind of sketchy, but really clear at the same time.
Was that the first show you did for the youth theatre?
Yeah.
It was.
That was the first one when I joined the youth theatre. My brother Phil, and thanks for mentioning him earlier, by the way. Yeah. He was in the Cluj Youth Theatre before he went off to train as a dancer, and he was in a musical called Carousel.
Carousel, yeah.
And they needed some kids to play the Snow Children, and I was drafted in as one of the Snow Children to do that. I think I must have been about 12 or 13 at that point. But you weren't allowed to join the youth theatre until you were 16, could you? I can't remember.
Well, young Matty Rue joined a lot earlier, but I mean, it depended on your talent, I suppose, really.
I think it was down to that.
Yeah,
I think if you were kind of, because this is the other thing about the Cluj Youth Theatre, it was kind of part amateurish. Nobody got paid, of course, but we took ourselves very seriously. There was no messing about. We did everything as if we were doing it as professionals.
Absolutely. I mean, what happened when you and I when we went to Guildhall, we were head and shoulders above everybody else in the discipline stakes because we'd gone through the youth theatre, and you were never late. You knew your lines, everything, because that had been instilled into us as youngsters. So it was great.
Big small things. I think if people have never been into a rehearsal place before, you would imagine if you're in a your local amateur dramatic society thing, people turn up, they sing a few songs, they do what they can do, and then they put their play on. But in any professional capacity, you wouldn't, as you say, you wouldn't come in late, you wouldn't come in unprepared, you would have learnt your lines, and you wouldn't sit there doing anything apart from concentrating on the job at hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which we did in the youth theatre, which is, it sounds a little bit pretentious now, and I'm sure people must have looked at us and thought, oh God, here they come. But I think it showed in the sort of the work that we did.
Yeah,
in the Fluid Youth Theatre.
The product was amazing.
Yeah, and it led on to some people going on and making it very big.
Yeah, indeed. Go on. You drop some bombs now. Drop some names.
Well, I think Mark Lewis Jones. I mean, people might know Mark Lewis Jones. I mean, if anyone saw The Accident, I know you've just played a brilliant track actually with Sarah Lancashire there. What was it called? Pig No Pig.
That was from Betty Blue Eyes.
That's brilliant. Never heard that. Cheers for that.
Well, Anne Emery, who your brothers worked with, was singing that song. Yeah.
Yeah, she's something else. She just died recently. A few years back. And for her age, especially in Billy Elliot, she was really, really good.
Yeah, to do 8 shows a week is a phenomenon.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, but Mark Lewis Jones, he was in a thing called The Accident with Sarah Lancashire. And he played the husband. Did you see The Accident on Channel 4?
Yeah, I did.
He scared me to death.
Yeah,
I interviewed him a few weeks ago, and I actually said,
"You scared me to death." Yeah,
and I know we are.
Yeah,
but and Ian Paulston Davis, of course, who was in Coronation Street for a while. He played Owen Armstrong in that. But Rhys Ifans, of course, is. I think Rhys would be the sort of pièce de résistance for the Clwyd Youth Theatre.
Yeah.
When they put a plaque up, they'll say.
Yeah, but also his younger brother Clear, who they did Twin Town together, didn't they? The movie.
Yes, they did, and that was something else. That film, really, really good, really quite an eerie film, but really funny at the same time.
Yeah, because the Youth Theatre had a Welsh arm of it as well, a Welsh-speaking arm of it, didn't it?
Yeah, which we used to get drafted into.
We did,
but none of us could speak Welsh.
No,
it was all cod, sort of like you'd write it all down phonetically, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. But in our day, I mean, when after you joined, I mean, people like Rachel Lundberg,
absolutely.
Who, if anybody saw the band, the Take That musical, she had the lead in it. She played Rachel.
It was written for her.
Yes, Tim Firth wrote it with her in mind. And and she was absolutely awesome in that. But she's just had a big stint in Coronation Street as well. She, I think she played Christine Hillier, I think the name of it was. She was the social worker in Coronation Street. She did quite a long time on it. I think she was on it for about 3 months.
Yeah, you've just reminded me. I need to play, because I went and interviewed her at the Empire in Liverpool before I took my mum to see the show there. I must replay that interview, actually.
Yeah, back on the show. Do this with her next week.
Yeah.
You should definitely do that. And of course, you mentioned Phil, my brother.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, he worked from about 1986. I think he left college and went straight into 42nd Street in the West End.
Well, he's never stopped, has he? Really?
Well, I think he had about 6 months off. I think this lockdown has been the longest time he's been out of work. And if anyone's been to see a show in the West End in the last 30 years,
he'll have been in it.
Yeah. You will, if you're a regular to the West End, you will probably seen Phil do something.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal, really. And who else is there? Oh, right, Sean Jones and Danny Taylor.
Well, go on. Run through the list of people from the Clwyd Youth Theatre that have been in Blood Brothers. There's you. Start with you.
Yes, there was me. Well, Sean Jones is, I think he's the longest running lead in the show. Yeah. He did 18 years in it. Just left last year, I think. Went out in a blaze of glory, then went back about 3 weeks later because the lad got ill. Then Danny Taylor, who he's been in it he was in it when I left, but he plays the brother Sammy.
Yeah, the older brother.
And he's still in it now when they get back on the road, when we all get back at it. He's doing that. But next month he's doing a thing like a Tommy Cooper Cooper show. He wrote a Tommy Cooper show. He plays Tommy Cooper. He's phenomenal, actually.
Well, he's got his own production company now, hasn't he? I think.
He does.
And didn't he get Sean back to play Macbeth in Liverpool at the Epstein Theatre, and Sean's missus played Lady M, I think.
Yeah, and his daughter was in it as well.
Good Lord.
Little Eleanor.
That's a little bit of a recipe for disaster.
I know, but but what, it was brilliant actually. Such a genius, because they didn't have to get a babysitter.
No, the witches can babysit.
Yeah, but I was talking to him about it. I said, "What was did she fit into it all right?" And he said she was more professional than the professionals. She was absolutely brilliant in it. But they were supposed to take it to Singapore, but again, lockdown blew that for everybody.
Yeah.
But but Danny's doing his Tommy Cooper show is like a 3-hander, and because they can't do that at the moment, he's turned it into a one-man show, and that's opening next month in Liverpool. So that should be brilliant as well. So there's been quite a few people in the Clues Youth Theatre that have gone on to do rather well.
Yes. Well, we're all still here.
Well, yeah, most of us here to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
if we move on from the Clues Youth Theatre now to Guildhall, you had a bit of a rocky time there, because you got in 2 years before I got in. Then something happened, and you had to take a sabbatical. So what was all that about?
Well, I just before I went, this is 1989. This seems a long time ago, that, don't it? Because it was.
Yeah, it was.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I always think like the year 2000 wasn't that long ago. We're now 20 years into the new millennium, and I still can't believe. I think the 1990s was recent,
yesterday.
But anyway, 1989, I got in. And about 3 weeks before I started the course, my brother Phil was on tour with 42nd Street, and I went down to Plymouth to see him. I had a game of football with Cast. It was a kind of Cast against Crew game. I played in that match, and I just felt something go in my back, and I had I started the course. And it got to about December, and I knew something wasn't right, and I ended up with a prolapse disc.
Right.
So I had to leave. A prolapse disc is basically, it's people think it's a slip disc. It isn't a slip disc. A slip disc is when the disc pops out of place. A prolapse disc is when the disc, which is like it's a bit like a little balloon full of jelly, but it bursts, and the jelly sort of like comes out and wraps itself around the sciatic nerve. Needless to say, the pain just does not go away, whatever you do. So I ended up, I think, I spent quite a lot of time with you around about that time.
Well, that was when we became really good friends. I think it was when you came back, and I was still doing the youth theatre stuff. You were still looking at the youth theatre stuff. I think we did a play together. We did Drinkwise.
That's right. Yeah, well remembered. I forgot all about that.
We actually got paid for that.
Yeah.
And we went around schools, teaching them the sort of evils of alcohol.
I know, the irony.
I know.
The amount of times we turned up looking like we've been dragged through edges all long over.
Yes.
So saying, don't drink too much, kids.
Yeah, so I think in that period when you weren't at Guildhall, it was 2 years. So it wasn't like just, 6 months or something. It was because you were supposedly in the third year. When I went in the first year, you would have been in the third year, but you actually came back into the year that I went into. So you missed out on Ewan McGregor and Monica Dolan.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the year above us, we had Damian Lewis, and the year below us, we had sort of Dominic West. So we were sort of the year that nothing happened.
Yeah, slap bang in the middle. It was us lot, kind of. It was a really good year though, wasn't it? We were kind of quite normal people. There was nobody starry. There was nobody.
We didn't have very many public school people. We didn't have many. We didn't have anybody that was sort of came from a theatrical background, apart from Hannah, who was her granddad was Bernard Miles, I suppose. But we didn't have that sort of pressure on us. So we were just normal people.
I always. Yes, and I think a lot of people at Guildhall, it was almost like, because when people say, "Oh, you went to drama school, did you? Did you go to RADA?" and that's all they know. But the people who went to Guildhall, as far as I could tell, were on the whole sort of working class people. They were just like normal, quite raw, normal people.
Yeah.
Then the year sort of below us, when it turned into a degree course, there was loads of people who went to Eton and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were I thought, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to mix. I'm not saying they weren't great people. I'm just saying, it was easier for us because we were all from the same kind of backgrounds.
And it's funny you should mention Betty Blue Eyes before, because of course Sarah Lancashire went to Guildhall.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But as you said then, I mean, I was in the same year as Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
And Monica Dolan, who's just a phenomenal actress. If nobody's ever
winner,
not seen anything with Monica in it, you've got to check her out. Just Google her. Oh, are you there?
Yes.
Are you there? Can you? Oh, sorry. I was being phoned on another line.
Oh,
I feel very
popular.
Yeah, popular and a little bit annoyed actually. I don't know how that's happened.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing time, wasn't it? I mean, I took over Ewan's room in a house on Allerton Street, I think it was, in Manor House, and he kept hamsters, and when I opened the wardrobe in this room, it was full of sawdust. It's because he'd been keeping hamsters. But, yeah.
God.
So, but let me
Lots of people lived there, didn't they?
They did, yeah, indeed. It was a real den of iniquity.
I remember going to quite a few parties there.
Yeah.
Well, not even parties. You'd end up just going there and end up staying.
Indeed. Yeah. You'd sleep on the stairs, sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
In a wardrobe, whatever. Right. Let me take you back to Guildhall. This is one of my most favourite. I actually got a job, a real proper bona fide job that was going to be paying me, and I turned it down because I wanted to do the final year musical, My Favourite Year. And it possibly was my favourite year. And this was your song. So enjoy it.
Go on.
Okay, everybody, run through the hobo number in costume.
It was a professional show business comedy.
Yes, good song, very good song. I sang it with Liz Mills.
You did, yeah, but there was a bit of a mix around, wasn't there? Because of first of all, when it was cast, it was somebody else that was playing that part, and then they just
Natasha,
Tash Little, and they swapped, which worked out really, really well.
But about a week to go.
It was, yeah, indeed, absolutely.
Well, having said that, I think we only had like 2 or 3 weeks rehearsal anyway.
It was mad, that one, yeah.
And at some point they said, yeah, we want you to play this and you to play this, and they were right. They were. Both...
Absolutely, it was the correct decision, but it was it must have been a very difficult decision.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's basically going from. You're going to have to start from scratch, and everybody else knows what they're doing. But the brilliant Bill Deemer choreographed it, didn't he?
Indeed, yeah. Olivier Award-winning Bill Deemer.
Olivier Award-winning.
He won an Olivier for Top Hat.
Yeah, and he now, of course, he's one of the main choreographers on Strictly.
Yes, indeed. I know, it always makes me laugh when they say that the people that are the partners, the professional partners, choreographed stuff, and they actually didn't. It's people like Bill that come in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the professionals, sort it out a bit, but...
Yeah. But he's because I mean I'd never heard of him, and I don't know if when he choreographed that, bearing in mind it was 30 years ago nearly, maybe he was just starting out then. I don't know, but we had a brilliant director, didn't we, Martin Connor?
Yeah.
Who done so much stuff with the people at the college and in all over the world. So everyone knew Martin. but I wasn't aware of Bill, and really, I love Bill Deem. I thought he was fantastic.
Well, he taught me to dance, really, because I always was very, very interested in it, but I could never really do it very well. I remember you trying to teach me to do a cramp roll in my back garden on the patio. I always said I'd come to you. Oh, actually, this is something that the listeners might like to know. Your mum ran a tap school, a dancing school for years and years and years, and it was hugely successful. Is she still doing it?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
I know. Yeah, I think it's about 65 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the Shirley School of Dancing in Harden. Like everything else, it's on standstill at the minute, but it will be back up and running very soon. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's because of that, I suppose, that I've ended up being the person that I am, because it was. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't know, because the world of show business can either be really, really horrible or really, really nice.
Yeah.
And I think I just fell on the side of really, really enjoyable and really nice. And I just met loads of terrific people. Nobody that I've met a few idiots, but you just sort of like don't get in contact with them anymore. But I mean, on the whole, the people who I've met in showbiz are really nice people. You don't get anybody doing the whole showbiz thing that people always mock. Like I'm going to be a tree or something. I've never been asked to be a tree.
No, I've been asked to be some things, but not a tree.
Yeah, I was asked to be an elastic band once. Which,
well, I remember somebody that was in our year, Joy, saying that she went to an audition once, and they said be some spaghetti in a pan and stuff like that, and it's just ridiculous.
I know. I just don't know what I think. Now at my point in my life, I now know that that's quite a lazy thing. If somebody asks you to do that, they've run out of ideas of what's going on. What was I watching the other day? I was watching this brilliant thing. Michael Sheen's done it with David Tennant. It's a lockdown play. They've done it on TV, and they've done it sort of. They're rehearsing a play over Zoom. Have you seen it?
I skipped it.
All right. It's this play is absolutely brilliant if you can watch it. I forgot what it's called now, but they started off in their first day of rehearsals going, right, we're going to play a rehearsal game, and everyone just goes, oh god, you're joking, and my stomach just dropped, because I thought I hated that. Throwing
the beanbags, that's always a bad one, I think.
Trying to remember each other's names, everyone just goes to the either somebody they know or somebody who's famous and they know their name anyway. But that's the one thing I cringe at the idea of. Do you remember that thing we did in college where we all had to be animals?
Yes, I do. I was a wolf.
Yeah.
We got a free pass to go to Regent's Park Zoo on a Sunday, and I just remember going and drinking coffee in a cafe in Camden with everybody else that was supposed to be going into the zoo to study their animals.
Well, it was around about that time that I realised Chester Zoo is a far superior zoo to London Zoo.
Yeah.
I'd go in there, it'd take about 20 minutes to walk around London Zoo. Chester Zoo, you can be there all day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But but that I'm amazed how many colleges did that. It wasn't just us.
No,
loads of people did that.
Indeed, but I just remember going because I was a wolf, or Wendy gave us allocated animals, and I was a wolf, and I went to Regent's Park Zoo, and they're all blinking tranquilised, so they weren't doing anything, they're just lying around. So by the time it got to me being my wolf, when we had our little zoo in Guildhall in different rooms, I was a mute wolf. I don't think I howled once at all.
Well, isn't it? Do you remember any that were like really, really good? Do you remember there was a guy in our year,
David? Yeah, he did a giraffe.
Fun.
Yeah,
and he was only little.
Yeah, tiny.
He was a really little
but he
guy,
was amazing.
And he looked big and looked like a giraffe. Phenomenal.
Yeah, he took it seriously.
I was a crane. I was a red-crowned crane. In case you were confused over the difference. But you remember our friend Zib O'Brien?
Zib Guest, yeah, from the Youth Theatre.
Yeah. Well, she went to where did she go?
I think
where she went.
Webberdy, maybe.
No, doesn't matter anyway. But anyway, where she went, they did the same exercise. She was telling me, and she was a gorilla. And when it came to the summer holidays, she was cast as a gorilla in the second. What was that film called with John Cleese? The comment. It was. What was the film called? Anyway, she was a gorilla in the film with John Cleese because of that exercise. Somebody saw her in it.
Wow, that's great.
I know.
Yeah. So sometimes these things work.
Yes. Yeah. Once.
Yeah. Once for one person only.
One example of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've got to ask you, actually. I forgot to ask, because I know you're. I mean, Calder Valley. This is a brand new sort of radio station that you've opened in lockdown, haven't you?
Yeah, we did. It was sort of. It's been in planning for a long time. It was. We had to raise the funds and do all sorts of different things to try and jump through hoops with councils and everything else. And then we got the go ahead, and then everything stopped. So it was a bit of a frustrating time, and now we're in the situation, of course, that we can get into the studio, but obviously it has to be socially distanced and all the rest of it. But my part of this organisation mostly is to do with organising events, because we've got a PA service that we take out and we can do stuff like that. But of course there aren't any events that will warrant that, really. And that's the only way that the money comes in, to be fair. Obviously we get a little bit of advertising revenue, but not a huge amount. And so I'm feeling a little bit slightly redundant, apart from the shows that I do. And just trying to plough on, really. So tell us about
that will change, though.
I hope so.
That's not.
I hope so.
That's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
And let me just ask you this as well before you say, because you live near Hebden Bridge.
Yes.
I know that's been struggling with all the flooding and everything. How's that now? Is it still in a bad way, or is it sorting itself out?
Well, they bounce back really, really quickly, because they did the Boxing Day floods of 5 years ago, and then the ones last year, because I was actually working in a pub earlier on this year, and the whole place got completely swept out. It was up to your knees in there.
I remember,
everything that was touched by that water, because it's tainted with sewerage and things, had to be ripped out. And then, of course, COVID kicked in. So it's been a long time getting everything back up and running, and there are still some businesses out there that aren't operational at all. But
it's a lovely area, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anybody that saw John Richardson and his wife Lucy's documentary?
Well, he opened our radio station. He was very gracious enough, and we were in a marquee outside, because we couldn't go inside, and there was a spin bike class that was about to start, and he and the mayor came in, and it's on YouTube somewhere, and they cut the ribbon, and I did an interview with him, because we did a PA for him last year, and he only lives up the road, so hopefully he'll become a friend of the station, and cool. He's actually there in the process of filming their next series, and I have bumped into him a few times, so we will wait and see. All right, we'll have a great rest of your day and weekend. Give my love to Jan and the kids all as much as you possibly can, and we will speak very, very soon. Take care.
Easy.
Yeah, and you.
Cheers,
all right,
buddy.
Take care. Bye bye.